The Beatles, Yesterday and Today. 11 songs, 27 minutes, 33 seconds, produced by George Martin, released by Capitol Records in the United States and Canada, or North America, as I'll say sometimes. Released June 15th, 1966. Now, admittedly, I don't have this. I don't have this on CD. I don't do vinyl, and I don't have this on CD. I've been listening to it on YouTube all week. That's about the only place I could find it. Um, It's very rare on CD. The Butcher cover. This this is an interesting story. This was the first print of the album, the Butcher cover. You can see the boys. They're wearing like white lab coats. They're not doctors. They're working at a meat packing place, and they've got baby dolls, and the heads are detached or beheaded, and yeah, there's like blood and meat, and it's an interesting cover. Some early issues of this album were released like that, and then when Pandemonium struck, they went and they put a new album cover on it. So the Butcher cover. This is all after the Imelda Marcos incident and John Lennon saying the Beatles are bigger than Jesus. And if you haven't read the wiki page on the Beatles, their trip to Manila, and they had like a world tour to West Germany and Japan and the Philippines. It might be worth your time. It's pretty funny. it's it's pretty interesting just from a reading and learning perspective. I'd heard about it before, but the Wikipedia article has a lot of detail. The alternative cover to this one, it's just a shot of the boys, and Paul, like, they're hanging around like a big box luggage, and then Paul McCartney's actually sitting in the luggage, and that's the print. That's the copy that most people have. By the way, like I said, I've been listening to this on YouTube. This guy's channel is called RNUT. You can see it stamped up here in the. Okay, so it's that's how I've been doing it. Let's see. Help. So this material came from three UK albums: Help, Rubber Soul, and Revolver. And I've just stolen this just to make it easy for you guys from Wikipedia. Help, the tracks Yesterday and Act Naturally, respectively, they were A and B sides of a single issued by Capitol 9 months previously. So two tracks from Help. From Rubber Soul, Nowhere Man, What Goes On, issued as a B-side of the February 1966 single, plus Drive My Car and If I Needed Someone, and plus both sides of the double A-side, Day Tripper and We Can Work It Out. And then from Revolver, the tracks I Am Sleeping, Dr. Robert, and Your Bird Can Sing. The mono mixes were different from those used for the August 1966 release of Revolver, while the stereo version of Yesterday and Today initially contained duophonic, those fake stereo mixes of the three songs. Subsequent issues of Capitol's album were the true stereo mixes. Okay, so once again, the Beatles are sort of all over the place on these Capitol for Yesterday and Today specifically. But when you look at the count, 9 of the 11 songs are Lennon and McCartney songs, including the one song that Ringo got. It's a Lennon McCartney Ringo star. There's one George Harrison song, and there's one cover by Johnny Russell and Vonnie Morrison. 3 of these songs come from Revolver, which was not released yet, at least not in the worldwide. 6 songs from Rubber Soul, including 2 singles. And I just rattled them off, and then 2 songs from Help. So a bit unusual in the way they put the together, but I'll speak about that at the end, okay? Okay, track 1 from Yesterday and Today is Drive My Car, 2 minutes and 25 seconds. This is a Lennon and McCartney song, and the lead vocals are by John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Some people say this is the same song as Day Tripper. I'll talk about that when I get to Day Tripper. It's in the key of G major, and it's a moderate beat, 4/4 time. The verse is, asked a girl what she wanted to be, 8 bars. Okay, it's a very famous song. It's one of the Beatles songs that I like, admittedly. The chorus is, baby, you can drive my car. Yes, I'm going to be a star. Baby, you can drive my car, and maybe I'll, and that's 8 bars. So the verse is 8 bars, the chorus is 8 bars, and there is a guitar solo in it. I'm gonna assume it's a George Harrison, and it's just a typical George. And the song arrangement for "Drive My Car" is verse, chorus, verse, chorus, that guitar solo, verse, chorus, and then the outro. And that's the first track, "Drive My Car." As I said, this is a Rubber Soul era song. Track 2 is "I'm Only Sleeping," 2 minutes and 58 seconds. It's a Lennon-McCartney song. It's the second track on Yesterday and Today, lead vocals by John Lennon, which is an indicator that it's a John Lennon song. It's in the key of G major, 112 beats per minute and 4/4 time. It's kind of a lumbering along song. I think John still has some of his depressed blues-based, based on the lyrics. He's like the depressed bluesy, not blues the music, but he's just down in the dumps, sort of. That whole Beatles 65, Rubber Soul, Beatles for Sale, all those albums. I mean, the Beatles were essentially overworked, and this song came from Revolver. The verse is, "When I wake up early in the morning," it's about 9 bars. And then the chorus goes, "Please don't wake me, no, don't shake me," 6 bars. It's a real quick chorus. There's a break in the middle, and then there's a bridge. The bridge, "Keeping an eye on the world, going by my window, taking my time," is 4 bars. And then there's this backwards guitar solo of about 5 or 6 bars, depending on how you count it. I think it's kind of stupid, but John Lennon was enamored with this backwards stuff. And the way I heard it was I think he was high, and he accidentally put the tape in backwards. This could be another song, but that's how the Beatles discovered the big backwards guitar solo. It's not my favorite thing. It's a little bit jarring when you hear it, and I'd kind of like to hear the frontwards way, actually. Anyway, the song arrangement for "I'm Only Sleeping" is a verse, chorus, verse, chorus, the break and the bridge, the verse, a backwards guitar solo, the chorus, the break and the bridge again, and then a verse and a chorus. So pretty long song for the Beatles, actually, at 2 minutes and 58 seconds, and that's "I'm Only Sleeping." Track 3 is "Nowhere Man" on Yesterday and Today, 2 minutes and 40 seconds. It's a Lennon-McCartney tune, and the lead vocals are by Lennon, which probably a Lennon song. This song is all right. It's a Rubber Soul era. For me, personal realization, I've definitely realized that John Lennon is my favorite Beatle now. In order, for me, it's John, then George, then Ringo, and then Paul. Paul used to be my favorite. But I've done a complete 180. I still like Paul. Paul's the governor, right? He's a bass extraordinaire. He does everything, really. "Nowhere Man" is in the key of E major and moderate tempo at 4/4 time, and it's a acoustic-y song, like I said, from Rubber Soul. It's the verse is, "He's a real nowhere man." It's 8 bars. And then the chorus, "Nowhere Man, please listen, ah, la, la, la. You don't know what you're missing." It's 8 bars plus a bar of music to circle back. And then there's a guitar solo. It's 8 bars. Sounds pretty acoustic-ish, but who knows? It could be, I'm going to assume that's George Harrison playing on a electric, but it sounds like it's got it could be either. The song arrangement is a verse, chorus, chorus, guitar solo, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, outro. And that's "Nowhere Man," track 3, Yesterday and Today. Track 4 is "Dr. Robert," 2 minutes and 14 seconds. It's a Lennon-McCartney tune, lead vocals by Lennon. It's a Lennon song, but I think Paul helped a little bit on this one. This, to me, Dr. Robert, this is my favorite song on Revolver. And So this is why I didn't want to do this review, because there's 3 of these tracks on Revolver, and I'm going to do a Revolver review later. It's one of my favorite all-time Beatles songs. Dr. Robert is. It's not quite country, and George Harrison is playing this real scratchy lead guitar. No guitar solo, but it's just a real clever. It's typical George, really. It's a song about getting hooked up from your doctor or dentist. You know, wink, wink. It's in the key of A major. At least that's what sheet music now says. Sheet music direct has G major. I mean, it's. I'm more of a sheet music direct guy. Well, I use both, admittedly, but here's the deal. I took out of this book, and a lot of these songs were in this book, but the ones that weren't in this book, I had to go digging. So I like sheet music now and sheet music direct, and they were contradicting each other. So who knows? It's a 4/4 time. The verse is, ring my friend, I said you'd call Dr. Robert. Day or night, he'll be there anytime at all, Dr. Robert. It's a real long verse. It's 18 bars. And then the chorus, Dr. Robert, you're a new and better man. He helps you understand. He does everything he can, Dr. Robert. It's 8 bars. And then there's a bridge in the song. By the way, the bridge, now 1966, it very much like a Pink Floyd Syd Barrett. Syd must have really been inspired by this song, or the Beatles in general, because it really has a early Pink Floyd feel. I'm not, it's just a point of comparison. I realized the Beatles came first, and Syd Barrett, he was probably very inspired by this. But well, you're feeling fine. Well, he'll make you. It just really does sound like The Piper at the Gates at Dawn or A Saucer Full of Secrets, which just shows the incredible influence the Beatles had on people. But to me, it's Pink Floyding. I know that's backwards, but yeah. He'll make you Dr. Robert. There's no solo in this tune. It's a verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, bridge, outro. So this is a complex song by structure and arrangement, where it has a verse, chorus, and a bridge in it. All right. Track 5 is Yesterday, 2 minutes and 4 seconds. It's a Lennon-McCartney tune. Lead vocals by Paul McCartney. And this, so just some facts here. It's the most covered song in history, with I think like 2,000, something like that. Also, Paul wrote this song like it was in a dream. Like he woke up in the middle of the night and he had the song in his head, and he just started capturing what he could remember, and he and George Martin scored it the next day in the studio. Big strings on Yesterday is its main. That's sort of like the main feature of the song, is the strings that are in the background. Okay, it's in the key of F major, and it's moderate tempo, and it's in 4/4 time, and it's on Yesterday and Today. So I guess it's not really the title track of the album, but sort of the title track. The verse, Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Okay, it's a 12-bar verse and an 8-bar bridge. The bridge is, why she had to go, I don't know, she wouldn't say. And that's the song. There's no solos or nothing else. It's a verse, bridge, outro. From that perspective, it's an AABA song. And not too many of those anymore. They're still doing some AABA, but there's a lot of verse, chorus, and some complex where you have all three. But a little bit of a throwback for the Beatles. And unusual that it's sort of like Paul. It's sort of like a Paul solo song, right? So it probably caused a little bit of animosity, but they handled it well. Track 6 is Act Naturally on Yesterday and Today. It's a cover, Johnny Russell and Vonnie Morrison, lead vocals by Ringo, and it's a country song. And I listened to probably the second best known version after the Beatles is the Buck Owens Act Naturally. I listened to it 2 days ago. I'll post the link in, and you can go, or you can just search for it and listen to it. But I'll post the link of what I listened to. Sounds pretty good actually. The Buck Owens version, just as good as the Beatles version. Not better, but just as good. It's in the key of G major. The Beatles version, probably the same. And whoops, I think I jacked up my photo here. Yeah, I did. Moderate tempo and cut time. The verse is the real country. They're going to put me in the movies. They're going to make a big star out of me. Kind of like that. It's in cut time, so 1, 2, 1, 2. It's a 16-bar verse and a 12-bar chorus. Well, I bet, I'll bet you I'm going to be a big star, might win an Oscar, you can never tell. And then there's a guitar solo, real twangy guitar solo by, I'm going to assume that's George Harrison, 8 bars. And it's a verse, chorus, verse, guitar solo, verse, chorus, verse. And next, act naturally. Ringo Starr by the Beatles. Okay, I fixed my photo here. Track 7, Yesterday and Today, and Your Bird Can Sing. 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Lennon-McCartney. Lead vocals by John Lennon. And rumors are it's a song about the Rolling Stones. It's in the, they had the big rivalry. They were friends and then rivals, and they're still rivals. But, I understand Ringo and Paul played on the new Rolling Stones record. I haven't heard it yet. Paul and Ringo did. Key of E major, 128 beats per minute and 4/4 time. And the verse is, you tell me that you've got something you want and your bird can sing, 8 bars. And the bridge is, when your prized possessions start to weigh you down, 8 bars. And then there's a break, 8 bars. It's the same music, but without the singing. I wouldn't even say it's a separate part. It's, it's very simple. The verse and the bridge aren't too different, and the break is the same. So, the song arrangement is verse, verse, bridge, break, bridge, verse, outro. And Your Bird Can Sing. It's a Revolver song. A pretty popular song. Track 8, If I Needed Someone. Yeah. From Rubber Soul, but it's track 8 here on Yesterday and Today. Lead vocals by George Harrison. George singing the first verse solo. And then the rest of it sure sounds like vocal harmony between, I'm going to guess, the 3 of them. But what I can hear is George and John, but it's probably George, John, and Paul. It's a nice, pleasant song. I haven't heard it too much. If I Needed Someone. It's in the key of A major, moderate tempo, 4/4 time, and the verse is, if I needed someone to love, you're the one that I'd be thinking of if I needed someone. It's an 8-bar quick verse. And the bridge is also 8 bars. Had you come some other day, that it might not have been like this, but you see, now I'm too much in love. And the song arrangement is verse, verse, bridge, verse, verse, bridge, verse. So another AABA song. That's at least 2 of them on this record. And, the maturity of the Beatles, they've come a long way since the early Beatles and Meet the Beatles or With the Beatles, wherever. It depends on where you're listening to it. But there's a lot less of these boy-girl type songs. And it just the work on these albums from 65 and 66 definitely represent a maturity and growth from the Beatles, but also they're just, I think they're just looking for something new to do. Okay, we're still on Yesterday and Today. Track 9 is We Can Work It Out, 2 minutes and 10 seconds. John Lennon and Paul McCartney. Lead vocals by Paul McCartney. Another AABA, so this is the 3rd one. John Lennon plays a harmonium on it, and once you hear the harmonium, you can never unhear it. We Can Work It Out is a very popular Beatles song. But someone pointed out the harmonium to me, and now that's all I hear, it sort of taints the song. It does for me, but I can still sing along and I guess enjoy it. It's in the key of D major, moderate tempo, 4/4 time. And the verse is, try to see it my way. Do I have to keep on talking till I can't go on? We can work it out. We can work it out. It's real fast. It goes 8 bars. And then the bridge is, life is very short and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friend. That's 12 bars. It goes on to 12 bars. And that's, you can hear John. You can hear John singing with Paul in the bridge. It's like I said, AABA, so it's a verse, verse, bridge, verse. And quick tune, no guitar solo. Track 10 on yesterday and today is What Goes On, ? 2 minutes and 44 seconds. It's a John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and Ringo Starr song. Lead vocals by Ringo. It's in the key of E major, and it's in cut time. The song starts with the chorus. It's also a very country song, which is, like, I think that's what Ringo really liked. When with Act Naturally. All the Ringo songs are sort of like Carl Perkins-y. The Beatles played a lot of country songs, okay? A lot of them. When you add up the 2 on this record and all the Carl Perkins songs, and there's a lot of country, which I'm not saying is bad. It's just they were definitely influenced by that. They liked it. The chorus, what goes on in your heart, what goes on in your mind. It's a real long chorus of 20 bars. Okay, and then the verses, the other day I saw you as I walked along the road, but when I saw him with you, I could feel my future fold. 14 bars. And then there's a break. The break is about 16 bars, just some more twangy lead guitar by George. It's not really, I wouldn't say it's a solo, more lead melodic guitar. I'm going to assume that's George Harrison. It's a chorus, verse, break, verse, chorus. And that's what goes on. And then the last track on yesterday and today is Day Tripper, 2 minutes and 47 seconds, a Lennon McCartney tune. It's in the key of E major, which is, if you consider its companion song, Drive My Car. Get it? Day Tripper, Drive My Car. It's a couple steps lower than Drive My Car, which is in G major. And this is also in 4/4 time. It's about the same. It's about the same tempo. It's almost the same song, really. The verse is, got a good reason for taking the easy way out. That's the chorus. She was a day tripper, a one-way ticket. Yeah, it took me so long to find out, and I found out. 8 bars. So the verse is 8 bars, and the chorus is 8 bars. And then there's a guitar solo in this song, which is a John Lennon guitar solo. At least about half of it is. It's 12 bars. It's a pretty legendary guitar solo. He's plucking pretty hard. And I'm used to the George solos, but which are kind of choppy and edgy. And then George is really string bendy at times. Like, again, you're gonna kill me for saying it's like David Gilmour-ish almost, but it's like he does that a lot. But if I hadn't read it, I wouldn't know it was a John Lennon guitar solo because I probably couldn't tell the difference. The song that you can really tell the difference is on the end on Abbey Road. When George plays and then John plays and then Paul plays, they like keep playing guitar solos on it, and you can really tell the difference between the three of them. On this song, it sounds like it's John at the beginning and then it could be George at the end, although maybe it's John the whole way in the guitar solo. That's the song. Anyway, you got the verse, the chorus, and the guitar solo. And so it's a verse, chorus, guitar solo, verse, chorus, outro. And that's the album, Day Tripper. The last song, Day Tripper, on the album, Yesterday and Today. Okay, here's Day Tripper. In summary, allmusic.com gives it 3.5 stars. And the Rolling Stone album guide gives it 5 stars. Uh, it's probably somewhere in between. It's probably more the 3.5, 4 star. Okay. It sold a ton. It sold 2.1 million copies according to bestsellingalbums.com, which is pretty good at number 23 for the Beatles, considering it's only a North American release, so USA and Canada. And it's still behind Beatles 65, and it's behind Beatles the second album, but it's ahead. It's ahead of the early Beatles and Beatles 6 in sales, so it's somewhere in the middle. Um, to me this is weird because I have you guys know I have the sets, right? So I got these 8. This is 4 CDs and 4 CDs. It's an 8 CD set, and it's all the Capitol Albums record. And the guidance I was given, yesterday and today was not necessary to track down, since the makeup of the songs are mostly famous songs, and 3 of the tracks are on Revolver. And if you're if you're like me and you're in your 40s and you're just buying Beatles records, you there's a good chance you got this or you got one of the box sets that came out. But 3 of these tracks are on Revolver, and a lot of them are on the Red album. So what I like about this album is the flow of the songs from end to end. Okay, it's just like it seems to work, and it's enjoyable to listen to. Because the Beatles cranked out so many songs in 63, 64, 65, 66, it was easy to rearrange the music for Capitol Records into different releases and make it sound authentic and original, even if it isn't. It works. It kind of works. And, I've been listening to this last week and all weekend, and it's pretty good. I don't know where it would fit. If I had to rank it and redo the ranking video, maybe I'll do a part 2 ranking and stick this one in there. But it's kind of nice. It's probably better than Revolver, honestly. But like I said, there's a lot of hits on it. So 3 of the songs come from Revolver, which wasn't released, and 6 songs from Rubber Soul, including the 2 singles, and then 2 songs from Help, and it just works. So that's it. That's Yesterday and Today. Pretty decent album, and perhaps I should have been listening to it all these years. In Coach Plyo Guide news, Friday, September 29th, the Steven Wilson album, The Harmony Codex, came out, and I had it. I'm gonna go off the choo-choo track a little bit here. I had it on. I had the Harmony Codex on pre-order from Amazon, and when I checked it on Thursday, they had updated the shipping date to November 21st. That would have been the earliest I would have got it. I was like, what? So, I didn't know what to do, and I tried to listen to it. I tried to get up Saturday morning and listen to it on Spotify, and I'm not a big Spotify guy. The commercials are too long. Well, what I ended up doing was I ended up ordering it on iTunes onto my iPod. And so I got it here. And it's pretty cool. When you order it on an iPod, it does this thing. Look at what the image does. Can you see it moving? So anyway, I've been listening to the Harmony Codex. Pretty good. Pretty good album by Steven. Not his best, but definitely a good effort. I'll get to a review on that one someday when I'm ready for it. It's just I'm really enjoying listening to that. I've been listening to it since Saturday once, twice, 3 times. I've listened to it 3 times yesterday. I really like it. Okay, next on the channel is, and I promise, Chicago Transit Authority. I'll get to that. It's gonna take me a while, but I gotta really. I've listened to it a lot. It's probably my favorite Chicago album so far, and I gotta write it up, do the analysis. It's gonna be a difficult analysis, but I hope to have that posted later in the week. Thursday or Friday. That's my target. It's just going to take a lot of work. There's a lot of tracks, and how am I going to? Well, I'll figure it out. I'm out. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.